Tennessee WildCast is live on the air with the latest on hunting, fishing, boating, and all things outdoors. Make welcome your host, drummer, and outdoor expert novice, Jason Harmon.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of Tennessee WildCast. I'm Jason Harmon, and we're glad you joined us. It's going to be a good show today. I'm pretty excited about what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be recapping a little bit of boating, and going to be talking a little bit about some WMA opportunities in Middle Tennessee. And we have Mr. Richard Kirk with us today, and we appreciate him joining us. And got Mr. Barry Cross as co-hosting with me today. Today's the first show without Doug, and but we're going to make it.
We miss you, Doug.
Yeah, we miss Doug, and hope he's doing well. But we're gonna make it. All right, let's move on, and let's see what we got on the agenda for today. And if you're watching on Facebook, we appreciate you tuning in. And if you're listening on the radio, thanks for listening there as well. But it's a hot boating time right now, and a lot going on the water. And
it is. We just got finished with Operation Dry Water.
Operation
across the state. That's a
Dry Water
national event, and it's designed basically to draw awareness to boating safety. So, Operation Dry Water, it was a busy weekend for our guys out on the lakes, and then of course the holiday was just as busy.
Right.
So.
Right. We 4th of July was yesterday, and there were a few accidents, I guess. I guess there were a few accidents. 2 fatal accidents yesterday on the water, 3 injuries, and 2 had property damage. And that was just for yesterday. But total overall for this year so far, we've had a few BUI arrests, 52 BUIs, 11 during the Operation Dry Water period. And then there's been 13 fatal injuries total, 20 just injuries, and 22 property damages. So a lot going on the water.
We may be a little bit ahead on the totals on deaths on the water to this point this year, but it's one thing that as an agency we push every year is go get that boater education. You don't have to have it if you were born before January 1st, 1989,
right.
But it would be a good opportunity to go out and get it. Right now, if you're January 1st, 89 or later, you got to have it to be on the water and operate a vessel. And it's really just a push to get everybody under the same umbrella. Everybody understanding the rules of the road, because if there are no lines on the lake, you don't know. People think you get on the lake and you just drive. As long as you're not running into somebody, you're good. Well, yeah, but everybody, if we're all operating under the same rules, we understand better how to interact when we're on the water. I took my daughter out to the lake yesterday, and it was hot. We weren't catching any fish, and I said, you want to learn to drive the boat? So I'm teaching her. She's 11. I'm right there with her and letting her drive the boat. Nothing crazy. And we had a boat coming at us, and I said, you stay on the right side. You're going to pass him on the right side. Within a football field's length, he decided he was cutting across our bow, which I was like, what is he doing? What's he doing?
Yeah.
And she backed out of it, and I said, you did the right thing.
Smartest thing she could have done right there.
But he shouldn't have done that. So everybody needs to just, take the class. It costs you $10. You can go to any license agency and buy the Type 600 permit, and go to our website, find a location where you can take the test. If you need any study materials, that's on the website as well. So just get it. It's not a test that's hard to take. I mean, it's really just information that if you don't know it, then it's more difficult for you to be out there with everybody else. If you just learn it, and you don't, it's once you learn it, it's like, oh yeah, I get it. And so it's not a hard test to take. It's just study the material and take the test.
All that information, tnwildlife.org. That's how you find out about the classes and where their locations are, and can contact and get set up for one of those classes. Another thing that's come across Facebook here lately, some questions to us, and we try to answer those as quickly as we can and get on top of those. But some snake questions. I had a guy ask me the other day, when's the season for snakes? And I'm like, well, there's no season for snakes. Snakes are illegal to kill in Tennessee. There are 34 species of snakes, and 4 of which are venomous. And So the majority out there aren't out there to hurt you, and
No,
if you don't mess
no.
with them, they won't mess with you most of the time. But
That's right. We tell people, if they call in and say, I've got a copperhead or a rattlesnake living right under my steps. Well, at that point, it becomes a danger, and that's something you need to take care of, whether you call a removal person or you take care of it yourself. But if at all possible, don't kill snakes.
Right.
They're going through a rough time right now with a fungal disease that's affecting them, especially the rattlesnakes, and now we're seeing it in other species. So if that snake can be caught and moved, or if it's in your backyard up next to the fence, leave it alone. It'll go its own way. People are not chased down and attacked by snakes. By and large, the only time we have someone bit by a snake is when they're messing with the snake. So if you can run it off, just run it off. Get it out of your area where you're living, and take care of it that way.
yeah, you should be fine. You should be fine. So,
Right?
Yeah, let me I can
go ahead.
add something here.
Add on that one there.
There's some things people can do to deter snakes from being around their house. For one thing, if you're feeding your animals outside, like your dogs or cats or whatever, when you feed them, after they eat it, pretty soon, pick it back up. Don't leave that food out there, because that's going to attract mice.
Right.
And that's what's going to attract the snakes. Keep the wood pile far from your house. Keep if you've got a flower bed with ground cover, keep that pretty bare. Snakes like to be under things.
Right.
They like to feel safe. And if you take away the food, you take away those safe areas for them, then they'll be more than likely away from your house.
You're making me want to do yard work.
I was trimming some bushes. I guess it was the other night, and I was thinking the same thing. I was like, I'm going to see a snake under these bushes here. So I kept my eye out, and we didn't see anything. But yeah, if you got some thick hedges around your flower beds, they like to curl up and hide behind some of that stuff.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, quota hunt period is coming up here pretty soon, or it's here. It closes up on July 25th. So make sure you get your quota hunt applications in, and those are done online only, or at a licensed agent, or at your regional office. So you can go to GoOutdoorsTennessee.com and do it there as well.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. I do it every year. Usually I have a sportsman license, and it's free for a sportsman license.
Well, you didn't buy a sportsman's this year?
I did not. I decided I'm probably not going to muzzleload or gun hunt, and I went the cheaper way. But now I've got to put in for my quota hunt, so it's going to cost me a little more. So
there you go.
I'm going to at least do the elk hunt and possibly the Cheatham hunt, because I'm hearing things about Cheatham, which is why we have Richard Kirk here today to talk a little bit about what's different on Cheatham this year and the opportunities that are out there.
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunities in Middle Tennessee on WMAs, and Cheatham is something we really want to highlight, and because it's getting better and better. So, Richard, that's why we brought you in today.
All right.
Tell us a little bit about some of the opportunities in Middle Tennessee on WMAs, and then we'll hit Cheatham specifically.
Okay, well, it is quota hunt time. We've got typically in Region 2, which is 25 counties of Middle Tennessee, Laurel Hill has in the past been our only quality deer management WMA.
Okay, and that's down off Laurel Hill. Where's that?
In Lawrence County.
Okay, yeah.
And we have 4 on one side points and 15-inch spread. But this year we've added that to Cheatham.
Okay.
Cheatham is a phenomenal area. If you go back late 1990s, early 2000s, Cheatham was the go-to area in Middle Tennessee. In 2007, we had an EHD outbreak that really hit the herd hard.
Right.
And so the deer population was really down, and hunters basically found somewhere else to hunt. Don't blame them at all, because the population was down on Cheatham.
Yeah, but that doesn't last.
No,
EHD. I mean that.
It doesn't. Typically, you give it 3 or 4 years, and it's back up. And so the deer herd is back. We've done thermal imaging surveys, and we figure we got about 1 deer per 10 or 11 acres out there. And that's, as far as deer density goes, that's really good.
It's pretty strong.
It is. And because of the lack of participation for hunters on Cheatham, the hunters haven't come back per se. We believe that the age class structure on Cheatham has moved. We've got older deer out there. So in an effort to entice hunters to come back to Cheatham, then we're doing something we've never done before. We're structuring quota hunts before the open hunts. For example, bow season opens September 22nd.
Okay.
So you back that up a week to September 15th, we're going to have a quota hunt. So you can be the first ones out there.
Archery.
Yes. Muzzleloader typically starts November 3rd, this year, November 3rd. So you back that up a week, I think it's October 27th to November 2nd, we're going to have another quota hunt for muzzleloader. So you can be the first ones out there with a muzzleloader. And we're doing the same thing with guns. So back gun season up a week, and we're going to have a quota hunt there, a quota of 400. So you can be the first ones out there, and then we'll traditional opening days, and the season opens.
Okay. Wow, that gives you a little bit more opportunity, or get a jump on the game, I guess you could say.
And one more thing I want to add, Cheatham's now another quality deer management area. We've put on 4 points on one side,
Okay.
or 15-inch outside spread on Cheatham as well.
Outside
We've
spread.
got, and you can see some of the pictures. We've got
Yeah, I was
some
showing a
really
few of
nice
those.
deer on Cheatham. We had several 10 points. We had one 13-point harvested last year. Cheatham is it's an up and down area. I mean, you're going to have to walk some ridges, walk some hollers, and up and down. But the deer are there, and there's some nice deer there.
That's
That's
nice
what
one
I
right
tell
there.
everybody when we talk about WMA hunting. It's not I go out, and get off the road 50 yards and I'm going to see deer. You've got to get out and do the legwork, find areas where the deer are using and hunt. So Cheatham's no different. There's a lot of people out there right now who know about Cheatham, and they're screaming at the computer right now because you're telling people this. But the deer are there. I talked to a guy on a plane who his son-in-law had a place that backs up to Cheatham, and I was curious. I asked him about deer, and he's like, "We got deer, man. We got all age class deer. They're running everywhere." So, I think this opportunity with the quota hunts before the season will give people a great opportunity, especially during that muzzleloader when you can go out there and bow hunt and do your scouting while you're hunting. And if you get drawn for that quota muzzleloader hunt, you're ahead of the game right there. But the legwork is the big part of it to me.
Yeah, and I tell folks, you got to prepare for deer season. I mean, especially if you're carrying, archery equipment or muzzleloader equipment, gun equipment, you got to load a little bit. I mean, you have equipment you're taking in with you.
Right.
And if you're walking up and down hills, you might want to condition yourself just a little bit so that you'll have the better time out there, that you will walk down into that hollow. And if you have to drag a deer back out, take your time and drag it out.
Yeah. Speaking of gear and hauling stuff in, on WMAs, can you hang stands before you're hunting on WMAs? What's the regulation on that?
No, you can't. Like the night before or whatever. Nope, you carry it in, you carry it out.
Carry it in, carry it out.
Yep.
Okay. I get those questions a lot on Facebook as well, and just to clarify that. But so a lot of opportunities. Unali, Cheatham WMA, Cheatham's coming around. It's, as you can see on the screen, there's a lot of big deer out there, and looking forward to that hunt. What other? There's a lot of other WMAs in Middle Tennessee. Maybe not the quality management WMAs, but what's some other opportunities?
Well, I tell you, the kind of a sleeper that gets gets some participation, but a lot of good deer is Percy Priest.
Okay, yeah.
It's right here close. It's Corps of Engineers property that we lease around Percy Priest Reservoir. You need to get a map off our website to know what's open, what's not, what's safety zone, and what's not.
Right.
But there's several good deer on Percy Priest and get harvested. Unali, you mentioned. Unali's a little spread out, so you need to, again, get the map off the website. But Unali is one of our highest harvest WMAs in Middle Tennessee.
Okay.
It is.
And I know, say Priest, there's a lot of boat access too. Water.
There is some that may be all you have is boat access.
You have to get there by boat. And Old Hickory is the same way.
It is.
But I've seen a lot of big deer come off of Priest, like you said. So that's pretty cool. What else do you want to cover today? I know you had a list of things you brought in that you wanted to hit on, and Barry had some ideas here.
What were we talking about? We was talking about the
what we've been doing this summer?
Yeah, the just
You drew a blank.
straight out of my head. Sorry. We're talking about the bears earlier.
Yeah, well, that we have a busy summer. We just completed goose banding, and well,
That was the other thing.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here, Richard.
Our migratory banding, starts in the summer and late summer. We just finished up goose banding.
Okay, yeah.
Dove banding has started. We're pre-baiting for wood duck banding. And let me say this too for folks that might harvest a dove or a goose or a wood duck. If you have that band, if you harvested a banded duck or goose or dove, you can go to www.reportband.gov. That's where you turn in that band number now.
Okay.
There's no phone number to call anymore. You can do it online. So.
And those people love to kill, harvest one with a band. It's like a prize. It's kind of like
It is.
That's why we put those bands on, is for them to harvest, right? why do we band them?
That's why I put on for Barry.
Yeah.
We manage those animals in partnership with the Fish and Wildlife Service, and it's a way for us to track harvest. We can get hunter effort. We can get population numbers, and just ensure that we're managing migratory birds like we need to be. The other thing we're doing right now, bears. People traditionally think of bears in East Tennessee, Cumberland Plateau in East Tennessee, and that's where they basically are. But we're getting a few crossing the county line into Region 2. Mm-hmm. And so this is the second year. We started last year where we've been running scent sites for bears. And what we'll do is we'll have an area a little bit bigger than this room here, if folks could see this room.
Yeah.
And we'll take 3 strands of barbed wire and wrap around some trees and kind of make a corral.
Gotcha.
And in the middle, hanging from a limb, we'll put this really strong commercial raspberry scent and a few donuts on a string.
Are those Krispy Kreme or Dunkin'?
Who doesn't like donuts? Come on.
So, the raspberry scent gets them there. The donuts gives them a little reward for going through the barbed wire. But going through or over that barbed wire, it obviously will collect some hair,
right.
And that's what we want. And because we can send that hair off to the lab and do some DNA analysis on it, and we can, if we get enough samples, we can actually do a population estimate. So we're trying to keep an eye on or be on the lookout for bears expanding into Region 2.
What's the preliminary thoughts on that?
No hits last year.
Okay.
And so far, we still got a couple, 3 weeks to run the sites this summer, and no hits this year. But we do get reports. We've got sites in Coffee County, Franklin County, and Macon County. But we have been getting some reports every now and then of people seeing bears.
Yeah. They swim pretty well. I've heard people say, I've seen one swimming across that body of water or that body of water. You think they get here by swimming sometimes too?
Well, I know they, I guess it's probably been 5 or 6 years ago now. We had one come out of Region 3 or the Plateau and go all the way into Wilson County.
Okay, that's probably the one I heard about.
And then, crossed the lake. So it swam the lake and then went back through Cannon County, So made a big loop. He was just, I guess, doing a walkabout or something.
Getting his exercise.
That's what I hear is the young males will get pushed out of the group by the mama.
They will.
And they start searching for their area.
And that's typically what we have. We have young males that are out just seeing the countryside.
Mm-hmm.
When you start seeing, there's kind of like triggers. When you start seeing several mama bears with cubs, then that's another indication that we're getting a few more bears than we normally have had.
Yeah.
So.
And a lot of people think East Tennessee, and they think bears are over in the Cherokee Forest, and that's pretty much it. But Big South Fork is a little bit closer to us, and
Mm-hmm.
that's just up on the plateau, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
So
And-
to have them come off the plateau is not a big stretch for.
No, it's not. It's really not. And so far, typically, young males come look around and go back.
Mhm.
You know?
And when we're talking about bears, remember, don't feed them.
Nope.
Try to stay back as far as you can. Let them roam and just let them go away. Put up your dog food. I mean, that's a lot of stuff they talk about, mainly in East Tennessee, because they have a lot of problems with that kind of stuff. But even
Don't-
around here, if you start seeing them, don't feed the bears and put up your food and put your trash away and that sort of thing.
Don't take selfies. You know.
No.
No selfies with the bear.
These are wild animals.
Yeah, they are wild animals, and we do not want to interact with them. And getting close to them actually will make them feel threatened. So
Mhm.
don't, you know.
Or they'll get used to you
Observe
and then
them from a distance.
and become
yeah.
a problem.
Yeah.
Something else that I remember y'all mentioned were the duck drawings are coming up soon.
Mhm.
August 4th, duck blind drawing day.
We got about a month away, a little
in
less.
Middle Tennessee. We've got Old Hickory is always at the Wilson County Fairgrounds.
That's a big one.
It is. We'll have 1,000 to 1,200 people there. Cheatham
And-
Lake.
And Old Hickory is looking really, really good this year. They got all the food in the ground. They told me they planted more area than they have in 5 years. So everything's been planted in row crop, and it's looking great.
We got Michael and the guys got about 170 acres planted out there, milo and corn. They still got about 30 acres of millet they're going to put out. We dodged a bullet about a week ago out at Old Hickory. They had between 2 and 3 inches of rain.
Yeah.
On the luck side, we had worked the ground up enough that a lot of that soaked in. There was a little bit of damage to some of the corn, but not enough to really even mention.
Mhm.
So we're looking good on Old Hickory.
So a lot of good blind sites.
Yeah.
Most of them should be pretty productive.
Yes. Cheatham, a little bit of a different story. We didn't dodge a bullet on Cheatham. Eric and the guys had roughly 130 acres or so planted, primarily corn, and they had a big rain, and it washed about 70 acres out.
They've been getting hit hard by rain this
it's
early
just,
spring. Yeah.
You know, it's how the path of that storm goes,
Mhm.
and Cheatham's received the brunt of it this
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
So we're replanting their guys. I talked to Eric this morning. He's out there planting today. So
And most of these places, a lot of people don't understand. They go, I see crops in farmers' fields. Well, those farmers' fields are designed to drain. What we're planting most of the time is designed to hold water. So, you know, it's not that the work's not being done. These guys are doing double, sometimes triple the work to get
Yeah.
food in the ground. So,
well, Old Hickory and Cheatham, both Cheatham Lake, are Corps land, and so, you know, when the Corps acquired that property, they acquired the floodplain, and so those farmers' properties that are off the floodplain drain on to our property,
right.
and so, you know, not only do we get rain, we get runoff, and
Mhm.
then we have to deal with it. But the other areas that we have, Haynes Bottoms. The Cheatham duck blind drawing, as always, is at the check station up on Cheatham, WMA. The Haynes Bottoms blind is there at the shop at Haynes Bottoms. AEDC blind drawing will be at Morris Ferry Boat Ramp, as
Okay.
always. The same sites as historically have been.
Yeah. And all that'll be on our website. Information will be on our website, and we're not leaving out other areas of the state. Those duck blind drawings will be happening all
Yes.
across the state.
Yes.
Just so happens we're hitting Middle Tennessee today and highlighting that. But now
And drawing a blind does not mean that's the only time you can hunt. There are places you can hunt in Tennessee without a blind. So don't think just because I didn't go to a blind drawing I can't hunt. You can hunt the upper end of Old Hickory. Is that right? Upper end above is the 109 bridge.
Yeah.
You can go in there and do a hunt. Just throw out your decoys and find your spot. But the blinds are probably the biggest draw.
They are because there's food in front of them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
one thing, we got a few more minutes or 4 or 5 more minutes here before we need to go, but I wanted to see what your thoughts were on this this velvet hunt that's coming up. Just to remind people, there's an early deer hunt. It's bow only on private land, and we're calling it the velvet hunt because probably the deer are going to still be in velvet. And So just elaborate on that and tell the folks at home kind of what happened. I may be putting you on the spot, but commission meetings, they decided to do this, and it's welcomed by a lot of people, but some people aren't very happy about it.
Well, with a lot of the issues we deal with, you're never going to make everybody happy. Some people like it, some people don't. August 24th, 25th, and 26th is an antlered-only archery hunt on private land. So that early in the season, there should still be velvet on antlers.
Mm-hmm.
That's practically a whole month before opening day, right?
Yes. If you harvest an antlered deer at that time, it does come off your statewide bag limit.
It applies to your
Yes.
two buck limit.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got one of them then. So it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah.
It will be.
And there are other states that do this, correct?
Yeah, Kentucky does it. I'm pretty sure. I think they mentioned that. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, there's an early opportunity.
You think it's going to have any effect on our deer populations, or? I mean, some people say it's too early, or and that kind of thing. You're taking out the best bucks, and it's all speculation.
It's
I guess.
all opportunistic. I mean, and since it comes, since it applies to your statewide bag, I don't think we're gonna be harvesting any more deer than normal.
Mm-hmm.
You might be able to pattern these deer a little better that early, but it's going to be interesting to see.
I think it'll be fun. I mean, it's crossbow or compound bow.
It's archery.
Archery. So hunting archery, it's your opportunity to get out there a little early. I mean, you have to fight the heat and the ticks and all that
that's
kind of
part
stuff.
of it. Yeah.
But even in later in September, it's hot as well. So you got to deal with that just about anywhere. A few more minutes. Anything you want to hit on before we head out?
I'm just looking forward to deer season starting myself.
Yeah.
I like fishing.
About a month to plan.
People say it's too hot to deer hunt. Well, it's way too hot to fish right now too. So.
Yeah. So you tried fishing
I'm dreaming for fall.
4th of July and didn't have any luck. So you just drove around the water and cooled off.
Yeah.
Well, Richard, we appreciate you coming in.
No problem. I enjoyed it.
Always great to have you, and you're got a lot of information to share with us. We're excited about what Middle Tennessee's got going on as far as on the WMAs. A lot of public land opportunity for hunters and anglers. So
Good deal.
All right. Well, we'll see y'all next time on Tennessee WildCast. We're here each week. Thanks for watching on Facebook. Thanks for listening on the radio, and thanks for tuning into the podcast. It's been fun doing this show, and want to keep bringing it to you and keep bringing you all the information, as much information as we can. So, Barry, thanks for jumping in and co-hosting today.
Just happy to be here. What were we talking about?
Just so happy to be here.
Shout out to Doug.
Yeah, Doug, we miss you, and hope you have a happy retirement. So, anyway, we'll see y'all next time on Tennessee WildCast.
Thanks for tuning in. Stay connected with TWRA by visiting our website at tnwildlife.org and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hey, it's all about Tennessee wildlife. It's what we do. Tennessee WildCast will be on the air again next week. We'll see you then.